What's up, everybody? It's J Mac, and welcome back to Bigfoot Input. And I know what you're thinking. Wow, 2 videos in one day. Is it my birthday or something? No. The bottom line is this picture is so hot on the internet right now that we just had to throw our 2 cents in. Had to throw our hat in the ring. So let's dive right in and start talking about this. All right, guys. Here it is. This is the picture in question. So let's take it in for a moment. It's being captioned as Mother Skunkape holding baby, infant, juvenile, whatever, in the Ocala National Forest. All right. So, look, y'all, let's talk about these trees, first of all. So we've got the palms, we've got the oaks, we've got the pines. This is very reminiscent of Central Florida. I'm from Central Florida. If y'all don't believe me, I just said y'all twice. Okay, so anyway, I do believe this is in Florida. However, we got some intel the other night from another gentleman. I'm not going to mention his name, but he said, actually, he goes, this picture came out of a hunting group from my area, and my area is over here. And he's saying that it is much further west than the Ocala National Forest, almost to the west coast, but still central. So let's talk about some obvious things. How about we just go ahead and give you a close-up look at it first of all? How about that? So, yeah, there's the baby, obviously. We got the baby's head, big round head. It's facing the mother. Arm goes off this way. Bottom of the arm here. Other arm here, which trails off around the mother. And then I think this discoloration here, I think is the mother's fingers maybe, holding the baby. Okay. The creature itself, people are freaking out about these ears, saying there's no possible way that those are Skunkape ears. I'm an expert on Skunkape ears. I graduated from college with a minor in Skunkape ears. And those are not Skunkape ears. But I don't feel that we honestly have a grasp enough on this creature to say that for sure. There's a few different variations of this creature, different reports. I've heard of them even being hairless. I promise you. So anyway, I'm just not gonna rule this out as an impossibility. People are saying no, it's a chimpanzee. Well, we've all seen chimps, right? This thing to me looks a little furry, a little fluffy to be a chimpanzee. It doesn't have the typical colorations of a chimpanzee. So it's let's just be honest, it's different. It's not a chimp. If it's a chimp, it's a completely different kind of chimp. And then where did it come from? And I've heard people say, well, people are releasing their exotic animals and blah. You know what? That's such a rarity. I mean, when animals escape from zoos, they usually go and they find them. Or, if someone paid $50,000 to have a chimp, they probably didn't just release it into the wild. And again, it's not a chimp. I mean, look at it. It's just not. So anyway, let's move on from that real quick because there's a lot in this video to cover. Okay, let's talk about this thing. All right, what is this? So this is 2 metal bars strapped to this tree with a gear, and that gear is attached to this rope, which then goes out of scene. Okay, so this rope right here goes all the way up, and that rope will then, out of scene, attach to this thing right here, this little rectangular metal box here. Okay, and then if you look at the whole picture, what we're looking at is this area here is a feeding station. Okay, and unless I'm off the mark, and anyone can correct me if you think you know better, but what I believe this is a hog baiting station. Central Florida has a pretty nasty feral hog problem. All right. And they will bait the hogs, they'll bring them in, they'll make them comfortable eating in this area, and then they'll make this a fertile hunting ground for these hogs. All right. Or, you know, sometimes they'll use it to count population. That's most likely why this area is being videoed, or at least having pictures taken. When the camera detects motion, it'll take pictures. It'll count the amount of hogs in a I don't I don't think it's is it a herd? I don't think it's a herd of hogs, but I forget what they call those. But anyway, so they will count the amount of hogs that are in the group, and they'll know, you know, they'll know how many they're hunting for. So that, I think that kind of answers that question, is what is going on there. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, which is the shoe, right? Here is the shoe in question. And for the shoe, we're going to zoom right in. Now I ask you, zoomed in, looking at it closely, does it still look like a shoe to you? See the sole of the shoe right here? This piece right there? That is the sole, or what would be the sole of this shoe. Now I want you to follow it closely. This is a piece of wood coming off of this tree. This fallen tree here. There's two fallen trees. So this one here, and then this one here. So the sole of the shoe is a piece of wood from this tree. The shoe itself, which is not oblong shaped, by the way, which shoes typically are, it's round. We know this because we can see light right here. This is round. Most likely making this the knot of a tree that has rotted out from this other tree, or fallen from this other tree, or whatever the case may be. This is a natural thing. This is not a shoe. And I'll give it to them at first glance. When we're just sitting around looking at this picture, I could see how that could be mistaken as a shoe. I'll give you that, okay? But please don't just take a fleeting glance at the picture and go, yep, that's a shoe. Yep, that's a chimp. It's over. No, it's not over. All right? So anyway, let's put that to bed, will we? I mean, come on. It's not a shoe. All right. Let's talk about this. So, the creature is photoshopped, the creature is AI. Okay. So, you know, if you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you know the stance that I take against AI pictures. Every time I find them, I post them, I point them out, I show how you can detect what is an AI picture from not. I'm not saying I'm any sort of expert on AI, but they all look the same. They all have that general haze to them. And this is a very clear shot of this creature. I don't feel it's AI at all. And I'm just going to leave that there. I don't think it's AI. So, all right. So it's photoshopped. All right. So now the word Photoshop is grossly overused. I don't think that most of the people that use the word Photoshop have really ever used Photoshop or know what it's capable of. So let's take a look at why this is not Photoshopped. When you Photoshop something, you have a pretty clear, distinctive line of where the creature begins and where the background ends, or vice versa, right? This is a beautifully natural transition. I see no lines, no sharpness, nothing. Okay. Okay. Now let's look at this part. To Photoshop this, we're either going to have to Photoshop the creature in first, and then Photoshop in this tree, the roots and all, because I mean that's, you know, part of it. This tree, you got to Photoshop all this, Photoshop this, put it in front of this, make sure this sunlight is evenly dispersed on the log and the tree and the infant, even though this tree is shading half of the infant. You know, I mean, do I even need to go on, guys? I will, though. I'll go on. All right. So anyway, this tree is shading this part of the creature and the infant. We'd have to Photoshop all that perfectly. And then we got to Photoshop it over the creature. Now, or we got to Photoshop, we got to cut the creature here and here, and then Photoshop these two parts around this tree. And then, of course, do the perfectly natural shading and the sunlight and all that, right? And while maintaining this perfect downward slope here. Okay. I submit to you that, if not impossible, that is extremely, extremely difficult. And I am leaning on the side of impossible. I don't think it would look this good if someone did it. I just can't imagine how it would look this good. And like I said, what really gives it all away, I want you to pay attention to the sunlight kind of bathing the creature right up to here. It's obviously sort of, it looks like late afternoon. And this tree is shading right here perfectly. Because why? Because that's where it is. That's where the tree is. That's where the creature is. The sun is being blocked by this tree, and this is the shadow right here. So you're going to tell me that that's AI? That's Photoshop? I honestly don't believe that you've ever seen an AI or a Photoshopped picture if that's the case. So, I don't know, guys. Have we covered all the bases? I mean, is it a man in a suit? I don't think so. I mean, it's a pretty good suit if so, and why? Why is my big question. But anyway, I don't believe it's AI. I don't believe it's Photoshopped. Now, the only question remains is, what is it? And being that we have very limited knowledge on the Skunkape and on the Bigfoot, aka Sasquatch itself, I don't believe that we're going to be able to rule this one out as some sort of random ape in the Central Florida forests. So that's it, guys. That's all I've got. I hope that shed some light on this picture. And this is J Mac, and I'm out. Keep squatching.